Hey everybody! Today we are going to begin learning about ratios. Our learning target is to be able to understand what a ratio is and how to use ratio language to describe a ratio relationship between two quantities. Get your notes and a pencil ready and let's get started. What is a ratio? Write this definition in your notes. A ratio is comparison of two or more quantities. It tells us how much of one thing there is compared to another. So my family loves football and we love University of Kentucky football, so we get season tickets each year. We're going to use Kentucky football to help us learn about ratios. Before each season begins, we like to check out how many home games and how many away games there will be. Last season, there were 8 home games and 4 away games. Let's use these numbers to help us learn about part-to-part ratios. Make sure you are getting this info in your notes. A part-to-part ratio compares a selected number of parts to a number of other parts in a whole. Our question is, what is the ratio of home games to away games? So we have part of the games played at home, 8, and part of the games played away, 4. So the ratio is 8 to 4. Notice that the ratio can be written in 3 different forms. You can have the word TO between the numbers. You can write the ratio as a fraction, 8 fraction bar 4, or with a colon between the numbers. But you can also simplify ratios just like you simplify fractions. This ratio can be simplified. 8 and 4 have a common factor. What is the greatest common factor of 8 and 4? If you said 4, then you are correct. This ratio can be simplified to 2 to 1. What does this tell us? This tells us for every 2 games played at home, 1 was played away. It was a really good year to have season tickets. Now let's look at games won, games lost, and games played to help us learn about part-to-whole ratios. A part-to-whole ratio compares a selected number of parts in a whole to the total of all parts in the whole. Our question is, what is the ratio of games won to total games played? 7 games were won, 5 games were lost, giving a total of 12 games played. So the ratio games won to games played is 7 to 12. Notice the ratio written in the 3 different forms. But you will see that this ratio cannot be simplified because the only common factor of 7 and 12 is 1. This ratio tells us that out of 12 games played, they won 7. Let's look at the hot dogs sold at the concession stand to solve a couple more ratio problems. We have hot dogs with ketchup, 2,000, hot dogs with mustard, 1,000, and plain hot dogs, 4,000. All right, let's do a part-to-part ratio. Hot dogs with mustard sold to hot dogs with ketchup sold. The ratio would be 1,000 to 2,000, but notice this ratio can be simplified because 1,000 and 2,000 have the greatest common factor of 1,000. So the simplified ratio is 1 to 2. This tells us for every 1 hot dog sold with mustard, 2 were sold with ketchup. And using this information to do a part-to-whole ratio, plain hot dogs sold to total hot dogs sold, we can see that 4,000 hot dogs were sold that were plain. But how do we know the total hot dogs sold? Well, to find a total, we add. So we're going to add 2,000 plus 1,000 plus 4,000, and that is 7,000. So a total of 7,000 hot dogs were sold, giving us the ratio 4,000 to 7,000, which can be simplified 4 to 7. So for every 7 total hot dogs sold, 4 of them were plain. All right, let's look at a couple more problems. Do you all like watching the band at a football game? I sure do. Let's read this problem and see if we can find the ratio. There are 20 band members in the percussion section. There are 40 band members in the woodwind section. What is the ratio of band members in the percussion section to woodwind section? Okay, here we have a part-to-part ratio. We're going to find ratio of band members in the percussion section to woodwind section. See if you can find this part-to-part ratio. Be sure to simplify if possible, and then we will check your answers. The ratio of band members in the percussion section to woodwind section is 20 to 40, and this can be simplified 1 to 2 because 20 is the greatest common factor of 20 and 40. So every 1 band member that is in the percussion section, there are 2 band members in the woodwind section. And our final problem, during the 2019 season, a UK quarterback completed 55 passes, but didn't complete 68 passes. What is the ratio of passes completed to total passes attempted? Take a minute and see if you can find this part-to-whole ratio. All right. Here is our correct part-to-whole ratio for this problem. 55 to 123. There were 55 completed passes, and if you add the completed passes with the passes that were not completed, you get a total of 123 passes attempted. So this ratio tells us for every 123 passes thrown, 55 were completed. Now it is time for you to complete your ratio worksheet. Be ready to share and discuss your answers.